Hey everyone, we're diving into another round of incredible turn-based RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. 2026 has given us an amazing library to choose from, and today's list features some absolute gems that you need to experience. Whether you're into classic JRPGs, tactical battles, or unique indie experiences, we've got you covered. Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of the deepest RPGs you can play on Switch, giving you incredible freedom in how you approach every situation. You create a custom character or choose from unique origin characters, each with their own storylines and motivations, then set out in a world where you're marked as a sorcerer, someone with dangerous magical abilities that authorities want to suppress. The combat system is all about environmental manipulation and creative thinking. You can electrify water puddles, create oil slicks and ignite them, teleport enemies into hazards, or combine spells with your party members for devastating effects. Every encounter feels like a puzzle, where positioning and elemental interactions matter just as much as your character builds. The game offers full 4-player co-op, where each person controls their own character, and you'll frequently face moral choices where there's no clear right answer. With hundreds of hours of content, multiple ways to build your character through classes and skills, and a story that adapts to your decisions, this is an RPG that respects your intelligence and rewards experimentation. Bravely Default 2 brings back the classic job system and turn-based combat that JRPG fans love, but adds a risk-reward mechanic that keeps every battle engaging. You follow 4 heroes on a quest to recover elemental crystals and stop a rising darkness, meeting memorable characters and exploring a vibrant fantasy world along the way. The Brave and Default system is the core of combat. You can default to guard and save up turns, then spin them all at once with Brave to unleash multiple actions in a row. But if you go negative on turns, you'll be vulnerable while waiting to recover. The job system lets you mix and match abilities from over 20 different classes, so you might have a white mage who can also use monk abilities for a combat healer, or a black mage with thief skills for magical critical hits. Boss battles demand strategy, because they'll punish you for just spamming attacks without thinking about their patterns and weaknesses. The game gives you excellent quality-of-life features like adjustable encounter rates and battle speed, making it respectful of your time while still delivering a meaty 50 to 60-hour adventure with challenging optional content. Persona 4 Golden puts you in the shoes of a high school student who moves to a small rural town, only to get caught up in a murder mystery involving a supernatural world inside televisions. During the day, you attend school, build friendships, join clubs, work part-time jobs, and manage your time between various activities that permanently increase your stats and abilities. At night and on days off, you dive into the TV world with your friends to explore dungeons and fight shadows, using Persona's manifestations of your inner self that determine your abilities in combat. The turn-based battle system revolves around exploiting enemy weaknesses to knock them down and gain extra turns, potentially leading to an all-out attack where your whole party dogpiles the enemy. The social simulation and dungeon crawling feed into each other. The relationships you build directly strengthen your combat abilities and unlock new Persona fusion options. The murder mystery keeps you guessing with genuine twists, while the cast of characters becomes like a second family as you spend 80 to 100 hours uncovering the truth behind the TV world and confronting what people hide behind their public personas.
I smell 3 enemies! Don't get careless! Throw down! That's some thick skin!
Fire Emblem Engage brings together heroes from across the entire Fire Emblem series through the Emblem Ring system, while delivering some of the tightest tactical gameplay the series has seen. You play as Lear, a divine dragon who awakens after a 1,000-year slumber to find the world threatened by the Fell Dragon's return, and you must gather the 12 emblem rings containing the spirits of legendary heroes to stand against this threat. The grid-based tactical combat requires you to think carefully about unit positioning, weapon advantages, and terrain effects, because a single mistake can lead to permanent character death on Classic mode. The Emblem system lets you equip rings to your units, granting them powerful abilities and stat boosts from heroes like Marth, Celica, and Byleth. And when you build up enough energy, you can fuse with them for a few turns of devastating power. Between battles, you explore your home base, building support relationships between characters that unlock combo attacks and story scenes, while also upgrading units through class changes and inherited skills.
I live to fight again.
Super Mario RPG brings the beloved SNES classic back with gorgeous modern visuals while keeping everything that made the original special. Bowser's Keep gets taken over by a group of weapons from another dimension, led by Smithy, and Mario teams up with unexpected allies, including Bowser and Peach, to save the Mushroom Kingdom from this new threat. The combat system uses timed button presses to boost your attacks and defend more effectively. Landing a hit right as you connect does extra damage, while pressing the button at the perfect moment when an enemy attacks can completely negate the damage. You'll explore colorful 3D environments filled with secrets, minigames, and puzzles that break up the combat nicely. And the party consists of 5 unique characters you can swap between, each with their own special moves and playstyles. The remake adds new post-game boss rushes that offer serious challenges beyond the story, and quality of life improvements like a triple-speed battle option keep the pacing smooth. This is a perfect entry point for people new to turn-based RPGs, because the mechanics are easy to grasp, but have enough depth to stay interesting. Trails in the Sky is the beginning of one of gaming's most ambitious, interconnected RPG series. And while it starts slow, it builds into something truly special. You play as Estelle and Joshua, 2 young bracers in training, basically adventurers for hire, traveling their country to help people with various problems while uncovering a larger conspiracy. The turn-based combat uses a grid system where positioning matters, spells have areas of effect, and moving around the battlefield strategically can be the difference between victory and defeat. Arts, which are magic spells, are customized through a court system, where you slot different elemental gems into your orbment device, and different combinations unlock different spells, giving you control over each character's magical abilities. The world building is incredibly detailed. Every NPC has a name and dialogue that changes as the story progresses, making the world feel genuinely alive and lived in. The pacing is deliberately slow, focusing on character development and building the world, rather than rushing through plot points, which means you really get to know Estelle, Joshua, and the supporting cast.
Gotta hurry and bring Dad back.
Estelle, look out!
It's not my style to just sit and wait. There's no doubt that something is stirring.
There are forces in this world that your eyes cannot see.
Sure, watch out!
Chained Echoes is a modern indie RPG that captures the spirit of 16-bit classics while adding smart innovations that fix old frustrations. The story follows a group of mercenaries and warriors caught in a war between 3 kingdoms. But as they uncover ancient mechs and a deeper conspiracy, the stakes grow far beyond their initial conflicts. Combat uses an overdrive system, where your party has a gauge that shifts between different zones. Staying in the green zone gives you bonuses, but using certain skills pushes you toward yellow and red zones that can either buff enemies or force your characters into a weakened state. So you're constantly managing this balance during fights. You can also summon giant mechs during certain battles, completely changing the dynamic and available abilities. There are no random encounters, all enemies are visible on the map, and you can choose to engage or avoid them. And there's no experience points. Instead, you gain stat upgrades from completing story beats and finding upgrade materials. The skill system lets you customize each character's abilities extensively, and the difficulty curve is well tuned to keep you engaged without excessive grinding. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster brings two legendary turn-based JRPGs to Nintendo Switch in a form that respects their original design while smoothing out the rough edges for modern play. Both games focus on classic, party-based, turn-by-turn combat, where positioning, rune magic, and team synergy matter, supported by quality-of-life features like faster battle speeds and auto options that keep exploration flowing. A core hook is recruiting the iconic 108 Stars of Destiny, turning character collection into meaningful progression, as allies unlock new combat roles, side activities, and base upgrades. Beyond standard encounters, the games stand out with large-scale war battles and one-on-one duels that add variety without breaking the traditional RPG structure. Storytelling is where the collection truly shines, weaving political conflict, rebellion, friendship, and betrayal into grounded narratives that evolve based on the people you gather along the way. Enhanced HD backgrounds, updated effects, and cleaner menus make exploration of towns, dungeons, and world maps more comfortable, while preserving the deliberate pacing that defines classic JRPGs. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake takes one of the most important JRPGs ever made and rebuilds it with gorgeous 2D HD visuals that make everything pop while maintaining the classic gameplay. You create a custom hero on their 16th birthday and set out to follow in your father's footsteps by defeating the archfiend Baramos. But the journey and the revelations along the way are what make this adventure legendary. You create your full party of 4 from various classes like warrior, mage, priest, martial artist, and merchant, and you can change their classes mid-game to create hybrid builds with abilities from multiple jobs. The exploration is old school. You get vague hints about where to go next, and you need to actually pay attention to what NPCs say and explore the world to find the next objective, which feels refreshing compared to modern quest markers. Combat is traditional turn-based, where you input all commands, then watch the round play out, with success coming from proper party composition, equipment choices, and spell management. The world is massive, with multiple continents to explore, each with distinct cultures and problems to solve, and the day-night cycle affects which NPCs and shops are available. Triangle Strategy delivers the deepest tactical RPG experience on Switch, with a branching story shaped by your choices and a combat system that rewards careful planning. You play as Serenoa Wolfort, a young noble caught between 3 nations on the brink of war, and the decisions you make throughout the game determine which characters join you, which story paths open up, and which of the multiple endings you'll reach. The grid-based tactical battles emphasize elevation, and positioning, higher ground gives you advantages. You can knock enemies off ledges for massive damage, and elemental effects persist on the battlefield, like puddles that can be frozen or electrified. Each character has a distinct role and upgrade path, and you need to think several turns ahead because enemies are smart and will exploit your mistakes. The Scales of Conviction system makes major story decisions through votes among your allies, and you can lobby them beforehand to sway their opinions based on your character's conviction stats in morality, freedom, and utility. The story deals with heavy themes like war crimes, resource conflicts, and the weight of leadership, presenting scenarios where there genuinely isn't a clear right answer. Live Alive is a time-hopping RPG that takes you through 7 different eras of history, from prehistoric times to the distant future, with each chapter featuring a completely different protagonist and gameplay style. One chapter might have you playing as a ninja infiltrating a castle with stealth mechanics, while another puts you in the role of a wandering martial artist recruiting disciples. The combat uses a grid-based system where positioning matters. You need to think about range, movement, and timing, because different attacks have different areas of effect and charge times. Each era has its own visual style, music, and tone, so you're essentially getting 7 mini RPGs that all connect to an overarching story in the final chapter. The scenarios range from serious and emotional to absurdly comedic, keeping the experience fresh throughout the 20 to 25-hour journey. You can tackle most chapters in any order, and the game encourages experimentation because each era teaches you different mechanics. This remake brings the 1994 Super Famicom classic to modern audiences, with gorgeous HD 2D visuals and quality of life improvements, while keeping the innovative structure that makes it feel unlike any other RPG out there.
Let's team up.
End this horror.
Grant me courage! So it's not over, huh?
Not by a long shot.
Pokemon Legends Arceus reinvented the Pokemon formula by taking you back to the ancient Hisui region, where people and Pokemon don't yet trust each other. And you're tasked with creating the very first Pokédex. The game ditches traditional random encounters for open zone exploration, where Pokemon roam freely, and you can catch them by sneaking through tall grass and throwing Pokeballs in real time without triggering a battle, though you can still engage in combat when needed. The battle system introduces a turn order mechanic, where speed stats and move styles determine who goes next, so using an agile style move lets you attack again quickly, but with reduced power, while strong style moves hit harder but slow you down. You'll take on research tasks that require observing specific Pokemon behaviors, catching multiples of the same species, or seeing them use certain moves, which creates a more immersive feeling of actually studying these creatures. The story explores the origins of the Pokemon world and features challenging boss battles against frenzied noble Pokemon that blend action dodging with turn-based combat. The Lunar Remastered collection brings back two beloved PlayStation classics, Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue, with updated visuals and voice acting. The first game follows Alex, a young adventurer who idolizes Dragon Master Dine and dreams of becoming a hero himself, until he gets caught up in a quest to stop the Magic Emperor from resurrecting an ancient evil. The turn-based combat is straightforward but satisfying, with a range system where positioning your party members matters, because melee fighters need to move close to enemies, while mages can attack from the back row. What makes these games memorable is the character interactions and animated cutscenes that bring major story moments to life with full voice acting, which was groundbreaking when these first released. The sequel continues the story generations later, with new protagonists facing a different threat. And both games feature town-building elements, where you can restore locations and improve facilities. You'll explore dungeons, manage resources carefully since healing items are limited in dungeons, and make choices that affect character relationships. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a dark political fantasy that puts you in the role of Denam, a young man caught in a brutal civil war where every faction believes they're fighting for justice. The story branches based on major choices you make, leading to dramatically different scenarios and party members. And the game doesn't shy away from showing the ugly realities of war, including civilian casualties and morally gray decisions. The tactical combat takes place on isometric battlefields with elevation, facing direction, and unit classes, all playing crucial roles. Hitting an enemy from behind or from higher ground gives you advantages, while certain classes excel at specific ranges. The class system is incredibly deep, with dozens of options, from standard knights and archers to dragon tamers and necromancers. And you can train units in multiple classes to unlock hybrid abilities. The chariot system lets you rewind individual turns during battle, which sounds like it makes things easy, but actually encourages experimentation and risk-taking, since you can test strategies without restarting entire missions. You'll recruit a massive roster of units and customize their equipment, skills, and class paths while navigating a branching narrative that changes based on your choices. Octopath Traveler 2 improves on every aspect of the first game, following 8 new protagonists, each with their own stories and abilities, as they journey across 2 continents divided by an ocean. Each character has a unique path action they can use in towns, the merchant can buy items from, any NPC, the hunter can provoke people into battles, the thief can steal, and these abilities open up different solutions to problems and unlock secrets. The combat builds on the break and boost system, where you exploit enemy weaknesses to break their defense, leaving them vulnerable, while saving up boost points lets you power up your attacks when it matters most. The job system returns with expanded options, letting you give each character a secondary job and unlock powerful dual-class abilities that create satisfying build possibilities. What elevates this sequel is how the separate stories interconnect more naturally, with characters crossing paths and their narratives touching on shared themes of power, revenge, and redemption. The HD 2D visuals are stunning, with improved lighting and particle effects, and the day-night cycle affects available quests and NPC interactions.
My turn. It's my turn. I'll cut you down.
Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is the beloved GameCube classic remade with gorgeous modern visuals while keeping everything that made it special. Mario searches for the 7 crystal stars to open the legendary Thousand-Year Door after Princess Peach gets kidnapped during a treasure hunt in the coastal town of Rogueport. The combat system uses timed button presses for both attacking and defending. Hitting A at the right moment when you attack does extra damage, while timing your guard can nullify enemy hits or reflect attacks back at them. You'll recruit partners throughout the adventure, each with unique abilities both in combat and exploration, like Koops, who can hit distant switches with his shell, or Vivian, who can hide Mario in shadows to avoid enemies. The game is packed with creative scenarios that constantly switch up the gameplay, from solving mysteries as a detective to participating in wrestling tournaments, and even getting turned into a paper airplane. The writing is genuinely funny, with self-aware humor and memorable characters, and the paper aesthetic is used for creative puzzles and transformations. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is the definitive version of SMT5 with an entirely new story route and expanded content. You play as a high school student who gets transported to Dot, a demon-infested wasteland that's actually a twisted version of Tokyo. And you fuse with a mysterious being to become the Nahobino, a powerful half-human, half-demon entity. The press turn combat system is all about exploiting weaknesses and managing turns. Hitting an enemy's weakness or landing a critical gives you an extra half turn. But if you miss or hit a resistance, you lose turns, creating a risk-reward dynamic where every action matters. Demon Negotiation returns, where you talk to enemy demons mid-battle to recruit them. And conversations can go hilariously wrong if you pick the wrong dialogue options, since each demon has different personalities. The fusion system lets you combine demons to create stronger ones while passing down skills. And with over 270 demons to collect and fuse, the customization is incredibly deep. The Vengeance route adds a new cast of characters and explores darker themes, while the original Canon of Creation route is still available, giving you 2 complete campaigns. Monster Sanctuary combines Metroidvania exploration with deep, turn-based monster collecting, and the synergy-focused combat makes every team-building decision matter. You play as a monster keeper, exploring a world where monsters are companions and protectors, and you'll traverse interconnected areas that gradually open up as your monsters learn new exploration abilities like flying, swimming through lava, or revealing hidden platforms. The combat uses a 3-on-3 system where building combos is essential. Every hit increases your combo counter, and the higher it gets, the more damage you deal, and the more likely you'll apply buffs and debuffs. Each monster has unique skill trees where you spend points to unlock new abilities, passive buffs, and stat increases, creating incredible depth in how you build each creature. Team composition matters because monsters have synergies. Some buff the whole team, others inflict specific debuffs that your teammates can exploit, and finding these combinations is where the strategy lies. You'll explore diverse biomes, solve environmental puzzles using monster abilities, and face challenging battles that require you to think about turn order and skill usage. Unicorn Overlord brings real-time, tactical RPG gameplay to the Switch with a massive scale that feels like commanding an actual army. You play as Prince Elaine, who must reclaim his kingdom from an empire that conquered it years ago, recruiting soldiers and building your liberation army as you travel across diverse regions. The combat happens in real time on sprawling battlefields where you command multiple squads simultaneously, with each unit moving and fighting automatically based on tactics you set before battle. The depth comes from how you build these squads. Each unit can have up to 6 characters in different classes, and you program their behavior by setting conditions like use healing when HP is below 50%, or target enemies weak to fire first. You're constantly making strategic decisions about which squads to deploy, where, when to retreat and heal, and how to position units to complete objectives, like capturing bases or defeating commanders. Between battles, you'll explore towns, recruit new characters from over 60 unique classes, upgrade equipment, and unlock passive abilities that strengthen your army.
Behold my might! I trust you!
Enjoy this!
How's this? Victory is ours!
Octopath Traveler 0 builds on the series' signature design while pushing its turn-based systems further on Nintendo Switch. Combat still revolves around the strategic break and boost mechanics, rewarding careful targeting of enemy weaknesses and smart timing of powered-up actions, but now expands party play by allowing up to 8 characters split between front and back rows, adding deeper tactical flexibility. Each ally brings distinct skills, passives, and powerful ultimate abilities, letting you freely customize builds and experiment with team synergy. Outside battle, exploration mixes classic JRPG town and dungeon traversal with a new town rebuilding layer, where recruiting characters and constructing facilities directly feeds progression, resources, and narrative development. The story shifts toward a more unified structure, following a personal journey tied to loss, recovery, and confronting ring-driven threats, while still offering optional characters that broaden the world and its side stories. Visually, the HD 2D art style remains a highlight, blending detailed pixel characters with modern lighting, depth, and effects that give the world a rich storybook feel.
Now!
Right. That hurt.
What should I do? It did be strong!
I owe you.
Press the attack!
Fire Emblem Three Houses puts you in the role of a mercenary-turned-professor at a prestigious military academy, where you choose to lead one of 3 houses, each representing a different nation with their own students and perspectives on the continent's political tensions. The first half of the game focuses on teaching your students during monthly cycles, where you build their skills through instruction, assign group tasks, share meals to boost motivation, and explore the monastery to build relationships with characters across all 3 houses. The tactical combat happens on grid-based maps, where positioning, weapon advantages, and terrain elevation all matter. Archers get bonuses on high ground, armored units move slowly but tank damage, and the weapon triangle means lances beat swords, swords beat axes, and axes beat lances. You'll permanently lose students if they fall in battle, on classic mode, which makes every decision feel weighty and forces you to think several turns ahead. The second half of the game transforms into a continent-wide war, where the 3 houses become enemies, and your choice of house dramatically changes the story, who you fight against, and which characters survive. Meaning you really need multiple playthroughs to see the full picture.
Had to be done. I'll go. Too slow! Next time, bring your friends.
Final Fantasy Tactics takes you through a dark political tale in the kingdom of Ivalice, where you play as Ramza Beolve, a a young noble who gets caught in a brutal war of succession while uncovering a sinister conspiracy involving the church and ancient demonic powers. The tactical combat uses an isometric grid with height differences that dramatically affect gameplay. Higher elevation increases physical attack range and damage. Mages can't target what they can't see, and you can even cause avalanches or destroy the ground beneath enemies. The job system is incredibly deep, with over 20 base classes and advanced jobs that unlock as you master prerequisites, so your generic units can follow any path, from Holy Knight to Ninja to Arithmetician, who casts spells using math equations. Every character gains JP, job points, from actions in battle, which unlock new abilities, and you can mix and match skills from different jobs to create unique builds, like a monk with white magic healing or a knight with time magic buffs. The story doesn't pull punches with themes of class warfare, religious manipulation, betrayal, and the cost of holding onto your ideals when everyone around you compromises theirs.
Right!
Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake bundles, the first two games that started the entire JRPG genre and rebuilds them with gorgeous modern visuals while preserving the classic gameplay that made them revolutionary. The first game is elegantly simple. You're the descendant of the legendary hero Erdrick, tasked with rescuing Princess Gora and defeating the Dragon Lord who's terrorizing the kingdom of Alefgard. And you adventure solo, exploring towns, gathering equipment, and leveling up through traditional turn-based battles. Dragon Quest II expands the formula by introducing party members. The Prince of Middenhall teams up with the Prince of Canik and the Princess of Moonbrook to stop the evil wizard Hargon from summoning the God of Destruction. The combat in both games is straightforward turn-based, where you select attack, magic, or items each round. But the challenge comes from resource management, since magic points are limited, and inns are your only way to restore health. Exploration is key because you need to talk to NPCs for clues about where to go next, find hidden items in specific locations, and discover secrets like the location of legendary equipment. Dragon Quest XI's follows the story of a young man who discovers he's the reincarnation of an ancient hero called the Luminary, but instead of being celebrated, he's branded as a darkspawn and hunted by the king, forcing him to flee and gather allies while uncovering the truth about his destiny and a coming darkness. The turn-based combat gives each character unique abilities and weapon specialties. Eric dual-wields daggers for critical hits. Veronica blasts enemies with offensive magic, while her sister Serene heals and buffs. Sylvando supports with status effects, and you can freely switch between party members mid-battle. The pep system adds a layer of strategy, where characters become pepped up after taking damage or dealing attacks, temporarily boosting their stats and unlocking powerful team-up abilities when multiple pepped characters combine their skills for devastating effects. You'll explore a massive world filled with distinct regions, each with their own visual style, from tropical islands to snowy peaks and desert kingdoms, all rendered beautifully, whether you play in the classic 3D mode or switch to the charming 2D retro mode.
Go on! You can do it!
Persona 5 Royal is the ultimate version of one of gaming's most stylish JRPGs, putting you in the role of a high school student who gains the power to enter the metaverse, a cognitive world where people's distorted desires manifest as palaces that you infiltrate with your team of phantom thieves to steal their corrupt hearts and force them to confess their crimes. The dual-life gameplay splits your time between dungeon crawling and social simulation. During the day, you attend school, build relationships with confidants, study to improve your knowledge stat, work part-time jobs, or explore Tokyo. While at night, you infiltrate palaces to progress the main story, or grind in the randomly generated Mementos dungeon. The turn-based combat revolves around exploiting enemy weaknesses with physical attacks or elemental magic to knock them down. And if you knock down all enemies, you trigger an all-out attack, where your whole party rushes in for massive damage. The Persona system lets you capture and fuse demons to create stronger ones, and your main character can switch between multiple personas mid-battle, while your teammates each have their signature persona with unique skills. And there you have it, the top 25 turn-based RPGs you need to play on your Switch in 2026. Which of these games is your favorite? Or did we miss one that deserves to be on this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I always love hearing what you all are playing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content.